All right, deep divers, you guys ready to dive in? Today, we're getting down and dirty with something that's probably made everyone listening scrunch up their nose at some point, right? Mold.
Yeah, yeah.
But, and here's the catch, we're not talking about just like, wiping down the shower grout. We're going all in,
Yeah,
like deep, deep into the science of advanced mold remediation.
absolutely.
We're talking safe solutions, sustainable solutions, effective solutions. And to help us navigate this, we've got a real expert in the house.
It's great to be here. Yeah, the world of mold remediation, let me tell you, it's gone way beyond just bleach and hoping for the best.
So we all know mold is a problem. We've all seen it. But did you know that simply seeing it usually means it's already releasing like microscopic stuff into the air? We're talking about mycotoxins here.
Yeah, and those mycotoxins, those are the real troublemakers. They can really mess you up, triggering allergies, making it hard to breathe, even causing more serious health problems depending on the person and the situation. It's not something to mess around with.
So it's not enough to just like clean up the mold you can see, right? Especially if
Yeah.
you're dealing with recurring mold, you got to go deeper. I've heard of something called enzymatic biocides. It sounds kind of sci-fi, to be honest. What are those?
It does sound pretty futuristic, right? But it's actually really elegant when you get down to it. Enzymes are like nature's cleanup crew.
Okay.
They basically they target and break down specific things, and in this case, we're using enzymes that specifically target mold.
So they're like little mold assassins.
Exactly. Imagine them like Pac-Man, the game, just chomping away at the mold, breaking down those cell walls. No cell walls, no mold.
Okay, I love that analogy. That's amazing. But how effective are these Pac-Man enzymes in the real world?
They're shockingly good at their job. There was this case study in Houston where a commercial building had a crazy mold problem in their HVAC system. Like they tried everything, but it just wouldn't go away. Then they brought in these enzyme cleaners.
Yeah.
Mold levels dropped by, get this, 85%. And the best part, it stayed gone for 6 months.
6 months. That's incredible. What about more of a DIY approach? I know some people are into that. Our research mentioned vinegar, tea tree oil, even probiotics. It's like raiding your pantry and your medicine cabinet for mold solutions.
I know, right? But honestly, those pantry staples, they really work. Vinegar, for example, it has acetic acid, which is like kryptonite to mold. It disrupts their cell membranes, makes it hard for them to survive.
So you're just making the environment completely hostile.
Exactly. No more mold Airbnb in
Yeah.
your home. And tea tree oil,
Mm.
that's a whole other attack strategy. It uses these things called terpenes. They're natural compounds that are antimicrobial, meaning they can take down mold. Think of them like tiny assassins breaking down those mold cell walls.
So vinegar's changing the environment, tea tree oil's a direct attack, and then there's probiotics. I usually think of those in yogurt, not mold control.
Right. But here's the cool thing about probiotics. They don't kill the mold directly. Instead, they introduce beneficial bacteria that basically crowd out the mold. It's like they're competing for the same resources, and the good bacteria win, leaving no room for mold to grow.
So it's like battling mold with good mold.
Sorta.
Sure.
You're bringing in reinforcements, the good guys, to fight off the bad guys. And get this, studies show that using the right probiotics can reduce the viability of fungal spores, that's their ability to grow and spread, by up to 78%.
78%. Okay, that's impressive. So these natural solutions, they're not just like old wives' tales. They're actually backed by science. But let's talk about some higher tech stuff. I mean, we're going all in here. What about HEPA filters and UVC lights? Those sound pretty hardcore.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about the big leagues of mold busting here.
All right, well, I'm ready for the big leagues. Let's start with HEPA filters. What makes them so special when it comes to mold?
Think of HEPA filters like air cleaning ninjas.
Okay.
HEPA stands for high efficiency particulate air, and they're designed to capture even the tiniest particles, including those microscopic mold spores we talked about. We're talking about filters that can trap particles as small as 0.3 microns with like 99.97% efficiency.
So it's like having a...
It's so cool, though. Basically, when mold spores are exposed to UVC light, their DNA gets scrambled, preventing them from reproducing. It's like hitting the reset button on their ability to grow and spread.
So we're talking about complete mold neutralization here.
You got it. And we have real-life examples of this. There was this hospital in New York, and you can imagine how important mold control is in a hospital, right?
Yeah.
They decided to try out UVC light with HEPA filters in their patient rooms.
And how'd that go for them? Did it work?
It was a total success. Mold spore counts dropped like crazy, down by 95%, and the best part, they stayed down. It just goes to show you how powerful that 1-2 punch of HEPA filters and UVC light can be, especially in a place like a hospital where, cleanliness is critical.
95%. Okay, yeah, you've convinced me. Sign me up for all the HEPA filters and UVC light. But why stop there? We've got all these great solutions. Why not combine them all?
Right. It's not like picking your favorite superhero. It's like assembling the entire Justice League.
I love that. Okay, so how do we combine all of these amazing strategies?
So first you got to start with the basics, right? Good old-fashioned cleaning, but we're ditching the harsh chemicals and bringing in the natural stuff. Time to break out the vinegar, the tea tree oil, give those moldy surfaces a good scrub.
So we're softening them up, prepping the battlefield.
Exactly. Then we bring in the heavy hitters, the enzyme cleaners. Remember those Pac-Man enzymes? Yeah, we're going to apply those generously anywhere we suspect mold might be hiding,
Yeah.
especially those porous surfaces, those little cracks and crevices where mold loves to make a home.
So we're not just cleaning up what we can see, we're going after those microscopic troublemakers too.
You got it. And those enzymes. They're working their magic, breaking down the mold at its core, stopping those spores from making a comeback. But we're not done yet. We've got to tackle the air itself.
Because even if we clean up the visible mold, there could still be those microscopic spores floating around, right?
Exactly. And that's where our trusty HEPA filters come in. They've been working quietly in the background all this time, capturing any airborne spores that get stirred up during the cleaning process. Think of them like air purifiers on steroids, making sure you're breathing in clean, fresh, mold-free air.
It's like a microscopic security detail for your air. But wait, there's more. We still have our secret weapon, the UVC light.
Oh yeah, it's time for the final blow. Now that we've got the air nice and clear, we can bring in the UVC light for one last sterilizing sweep. Strategically positioning these lights ensures that even the most stubborn spores hiding in those dark corners are completely neutralized.
So we're basically creating this multi-layered fortress of mold protection.
I love it. We're not just fighting mold, we're creating an environment where it can't even survive. And the best part is, this approach, it's not just effective, it's safe for everyone, your family, your pets, and it's easy on the environment. No harsh chemicals, just the power of nature and technology working together in perfect harmony.
You know, I have to admit, when we first started talking about advanced mold remediation, it sounded a little intimidating. But breaking it down like this, it doesn't seem as scary. It feels kind of empowering, you know? Like, we're not just victims of circumstance. We can actually take control and create a healthier space for ourselves.
100%. Knowledge is power, right? When you understand how this stuff works, you can actually make informed choices about your home, your health. It's about moving from just reacting to mold to actually preventing it in the first place.
Speaking of preventing mold, that gets me thinking. We've talked about all these amazing solutions for getting rid of existing mold, but what about stopping it before it even starts? Isn't there something to be said about, an ounce of prevention?
Right. Prevention is key. We've spent all this time talking about getting rid of mold, but like you said, maybe the best way to win the mold war is to avoid the battle completely.
Exactly. Mold's opportunistic,
Mm.
It loves those damp, dark, poorly ventilated spaces, so if we can eliminate those, we're already ahead of the game.
So less about fighting mold, more about making our homes completely unappealing to it.
Exactly. We want to create a home environment where mold can't even think about growing. And the great thing is, a lot of these preventative measures are really simple.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's hear those simple tips. Well, think about those damp areas we talked about. Bathrooms, kitchens, basements. Ventilation is your best friend. Make sure those exhaust fans are working their magic, especially after a hot shower or cooking up a storm. And honestly, never underestimate the power of a good old-fashioned open window.
Simple, but effective.
Exactly. And speaking of simple, address any leaks right away. I know, that leaky faucet or that little drip from the roof might not seem like a big deal, but to mold, that's an open invitation.
So we're not just fixing a leaky faucet, we're preventing a potential mold disaster.
Precisely. Oh, and don't forget about condensation. Those windows, pipes, they can get surprisingly damp. A little insulation can go a long way in preventing those little wet spots that mold just loves.
So we're like mold detectives now, searching for clues, identifying vulnerabilities.
Exactly. And once you've got the moisture situation under control, remember those natural solutions we talked about. Vinegar, tea tree oil. Regular cleaning with those can really make a difference in preventing mold growth. It's like stopping those early colonizers before they even have a chance to unpack their bags.
So it's all about incorporating those solutions into our everyday routines. Speaking of routines, what about our HEPA filters and UVC lights? Can those help with prevention too?
For sure. Think of HEPA filters as like your silent guardians, constantly working behind the scenes to capture those airborne mold spores. Running a HEPA air purifier, especially during those humid months or if you live in a naturally damp area, can make a huge difference.
It's like having a 24/7 mold defense system for your home. And what about the UVC light? Any way to use that proactively?
Definitely. There are actually some really cool products out there now that are incorporating UVC light into everyday objects, like UVC light strips in HVAC
Yeah.
systems or even UVC wands you can use to sanitize surfaces.
That's amazing. It feels like technology is always evolving to help us stay one step ahead of mold.
It really is. But at the end of the day, the most important tool is knowledge. The more you know about mold, how it grows, how to prevent it, the better equipped you'll be to create a healthy, happy home.
Well said. And that's what we're all about here, arming you with the knowledge you need to create a space you love, free from the worries of mold. So as we wrap things up here today, listeners, I want to leave you with this. Imagine walking into your home and feeling that sense of peace, knowing you've created a sanctuary, a space that's safe and healthy and 100% mold-free. That's the dream, and it's totally achievable. By using the right strategies, by making smart choices, and by staying informed, you can create a home you absolutely love. Keep learning, keep exploring, and most importantly, never stop being curious.